welcome to Crooked Letter Sports Podcast, the show about Mississippi sports and the folks who play them. I'm Tyler Cleveland, joined as always by my co-host and dad, Rick Cleveland of Mississippi Today. Dad, how was your weekend?
It was fine. It was really good. I play golf at Lake Caroline with your buddy Mike Justice, and I did not fare as well.
I can't believe you brought it up on air after the performance I kept hearing about.
Well, I did finish second in my flight, but second place. Who was it that said something about second place? Was it Vince Lombardi? Somebody said it ain't good enough.
It ain't good enough. Yeah. Well, we're also joined in studio today by Rick, maybe one of our favorite Mississippi high school football coaches, Lance Pogue. Lance, newly minted Brandon head coach after a year in exile at Columbia. We're going to talk about that a little bit. Sure. But welcome in. Thanks for joining us.
Tyler, I appreciate it. I'm glad to be with you guys. I tell you, I hear Justice with you guys sometimes. So just within itself, following him is a hard deal. But Rick mentioned playing with him. He'll keep you entertained just as without the golf club, I'm sure.
And I could just sit on the back porch of Carolina and talk to him for, however long.
You don't have to ask him what he thinks but once.
That's exactly right. And that stood the test of time with him.
Well, he won 299 games.
Yep.
You're at 264?
Rick, I don't know. I've been blessed. I'm up there somewhere in that neighborhood. But,
you're up there mighty close. I know that, and I know you've won damn near 80% of the ones you've played. That's pretty good.
I've had a lot of good players and been blessed. A lot of good coaches. I got to coach with Willis Wright. Not many people can say that. So I've been blessed through the years, without a doubt.
Well, we were talking off the air a few minutes ago about Cam Akers, and both of us agree that he might not be the best, but he's in the first sentence of any conversation about who's the best. Willis Wright is in the first sentence of any conversation about who's the best coach in Mississippi history.
Without a doubt. If somebody doesn't mention him, they're either too young and don't know the history or kind of off track. But Willis Wright, I've said this over and over, the run that we had at South Panola, all of us, it originated with him, and he deserves all the credit to get it kicked off the ground and kind of realizing what it could be.
Yeah, let's get into that. We were going to spend a portion of the show on South Panola anyway, and we want to talk about your current team at Brandon. But 10 years at South Panola, with 126-17, 45-16 in the playoffs, I think, for you for a career. Just what an incredible run it was up there. And, people had asked all the time, what was it? What was it? Something in the water? What was your take on it?
Tyler, 10 years and coaching at one place, especially South Panola as an attorney, takes some years off your life. But no, I wouldn't take anything for it. I got to coach my son, and he played quarterback and was a state championship starter there. But we had an unbelievable run, without a doubt, and had a lot of great football players. Just blessed with that. And that's where it started. You can't win. It's a player's game. Coaching is coaching, and certainly that's a big part. But if you don't have any talent, you can forget. I said this many times. I don't mean to make light of it. Nick Saban, I think we'll all agree, is probably the top college football coach of all time. That's a hell of a statement when you don't include Bear Bryant or some of them, and folks would argue that. But if you took him to Vandy, he would be successful, but it wouldn't be the same thing because of players. And so I'm the first to always say that. We were blessed with a lot of really, really, really good football players.
Mm-hmm.
You sure were. It's unbelievable. I remember talking to you and Willis one night up there after a game, and you were telling me that when y'all showed up in the summer at the field house, they were lined up wanting to get in and get on the weights.
Yeah, they'd beat the coaches there, no doubt about it, and that's a heck of a statement. But they that was, to me, that town at that time, so blue collar, but those football kids lived for Friday nights, and it was so competitive, and that was their opportunity, because some of them live 18 miles one way on a school bus. So that was their opportunity to come to, to get under the lights and, to showcase and to be a big part of it and be in front of a big crowd, and they loved that.
Well, so many of the players came from that, the tiny community of Sanford? Outside?
Yeah, well, it's Pope is the name of it, right there.
But
right. Yeah,
but it's the Sanfords.
Yes, yeah, and
Sanfords.
I got accused of recruiting up there, but I said, hey, it's Sanfords, it's Brazells, it's Barkdales, on and on, and it's just different numbers with the same name.
I was about to say, I mean, there was a while there where if a kid had a certain name coming from South Panola, you knew what to expect before they stepped off the bus. It's been kind of a myriad here for you the past. I mean, you guys, you've been all over the Jackson Metro, and then Columbia with before that with JA. You know, what's it been like these past couple of years, kind of moving around? Or are you hoping to kind of settle down here, Brandon?
Yeah, that's my goal. When I left South Panola, I retired. I had my years in, and I thought, hey, I'm gonna go coach private school, and I enjoyed that. We had a really good run. One of the highlights of my career, my Ricky Black's last game. We beat them at JA, and it had been a long, long time since JA had beat them. And I love Ricky Black to death, and that's a heck of an honor, because I'm telling you, that's a hard thing to do, to beat Jackson Prep. And but I had a great time there, and developed a lot of really good friendships along the way. So heck, I've coached at a lot of different places, and been 35 years. And most of it's been all of it's been in the state here.
Well, you had two pretty good teams at JA too.
I did. We played for a championship that year, and MRA was a little better than us. Played at Mississippi Memorial Stadium, but like I said, we'd done something they hadn't done in quite a while, and looks like they're coming back now.
You had a pretty good team at Columbia last year.
Did. Got beat in the second round, 21-20. Poplarville beat us. They went on to win it.
Yeah.
Tell you a funny quick story about that. Poplarville won 3 games in the playoffs last year by 1 point. I mean, boy, you talking about the stars lining up. That's hard to do. But we missed a short field goal late in the game that Mike could have won it. But I tell you, what puts a silver lining on that, Rick, I get a call Christmas Eve night. Our little kicker got killed in a car wreck. And, and that just, man, that puts things in perspective. And it's just so heartbreaking. And so it kind of makes you realize, football's a fun thing, but it's just a small part of the overall picture.
Man.
Yep.
That is rough.
Christmas Eve.
Yes, absolutely. Terrible.
That's terrible. So you come to Brandon, and following Sam Williams, who we had on the show several times. Yep. I like Sam a lot. Well, he did a good bit of rebuilding there, and you are coming in. I know you probably got some work to do defensively, but there's a lot of food in that pantry when you got to the house, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I want to credit him a lot. I go back to this point, and you guys remember this. David Coates was at Northwest Rankin. I thought the world of him. He coached me in junior college back in the 80s at Holmes Community College, and Sam was a wide receiver at Northwest Rankin. We played them at South Panola. I think it was 2008. Sam was a receiver. Sam caught 7 or 8 balls against us that night. We had a guy named Nicholas Park that ran for about 300 yards. Had 50 carries, boy. I
remember that.
But I said, man, who is this guy catching all these balls? And then Sam turns into coaching and has done an outstanding job everywhere he's been. Did a great job at Pelahatchie. And then I think he stopped by Ridgeland for a little while and then went to Brandon. But yeah, they've played for it 3 out of the last 4 years and just come up a little bit short. Man, it's hard to win that thing. Gosh, dog, it's hard to win. Everybody's so good now, in the league. You could be 7-4. And not even make the playoffs, but have a really good football team because the margin for error is so thin. But, I like to give him a lot of credit. He built a great foundation there, no doubt.
And, I mean, for me, it was a little fun to watch because it was so, he was kind of doing things that were a little different. But I understand why Brandon High wanted to bring in somebody like you, because in those 3 championship games, I mean, they kind of shot themselves in the foot a little bit. But a lot of it was just they ran up against teams that had an edge, that were a little bit tougher, it seemed like to me. And so I can see why they would want to go.
You have to be physical to win it all, because when you play a North team, it's going to be a Madison Central. They're going to be big offensive line guys and try to pound you, Starkville, Tupelo. It's going to be somebody like that. And you got to find a way to match that. Heck of a lot easier said than done. But we're trying to find a little bit tougher physically and mental edge, and even some of the ways that we're practicing all. No guarantee in that, but you got to find a way to do that, and that's been our focus, no doubt.
Well, you've got some good horses now. Yeah. I mean, I was telling Rick, the running back Tyson Robinson was I would have preseason picked. Before the season started last year, I would have picked him for like player of the year. I mean, like that's how good I thought he was, and that was his sophomore year, going into his junior year now. And you say he's put on a little weight.
Yeah, he's probably 205 and looks really, really good. And you know, it's just added some more beef to him. He's got great speed. He's elusive. Got all the cuts and all.
Hands.
Yeah,
I mean, he can play receiver.
He's a threat. You know, catching the football. He's a complete package. Been offered just about by everybody in the Southeastern Conference, and I mean, outstanding. The future's unlimited.
I'm excited about that.
How old is he?
He'll be a junior. Yep. Junior right now.
16 or 17?
Yeah. You hadn't shaved yet, Rick.
Oh, my goodness.
And then you got a pretty good quarterback piece, true, right?
Slade Shack. Outstanding, yeah. Man can throw the football and can run as dual threat. But the thing that sets him apart, Tyler, is he's tough physically and mentally, and he'll stick his nose in there, and our team responds to that. And he can make a play when things break down, and that happens a lot in this league. He's got several offers. Southern Miss has offered him. Ole Miss offered him earlier in the summer. Again, he's a junior, and so our two of our top weapons offensively are both juniors, and that's encouraging, no doubt.
Sure is.
Yeah, and the guy I keep hearing about is the defensive back.
Yeah, Preston Ashley, outstanding. We're going to use him on offense some too, Rick, kind of like Colorado did with their guy last year. And that's one thing we're doing right now is when I come in, I said, hey, we got some guys that we need to find ways for both sides of football. I say a football player is a football player, and when the money's on the line in those big games, you want your best guys available. So we want to make the scheme real simple, where they can go out there if they don't get a lot of reps, but hey, I know what I'm doing, and I let my ability take over, and that's what we're trying to do. And nobody can tell me you can't play some of these top guys both ways in high school football. And as coaches, we're trying to put that in play.
Well, I remember you having one you played both ways at South Panola named Barksdale.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, he's another one that had to be in the top of the list.
He's definitely in that conversation.
One of the top ones. Yeah, Willis Wright loves to tell this story. He rushed for about 400 yards one night against Ollie Branch, and Ollie Branch was really good back then in the North Championship game. And he also had a pick six for a touchdown and knocked their quarterback out at safety. It may have been one of the best individual performances I've ever seen. And but Tig Barksdale was lightning in a bottle, no doubt.
Man, that first step was just
out of sight.
Outstanding. Well, I am glad that you've got these horses at Brandon, because you were going to need them. I was running down the schedule with Rick this morning, and he said, just give me the first three. I was like, Jesus, you wait for this, you know.
Row.
You guys are opening the season in a rematch in the state championship against Tupelo. And they're
loaded.
Who loaded.
Oh, my goodness.
And returning the back that is just a beast, the big kid, J.J. Hill. And then, then at Madison Central in week 2, I mean, just like you say, kind of baptism by fire here at 7A, huh?
Yeah, like I say, you start out with all those guys, and I like to do that when I was at South Panola. We beefed our schedule up. Obviously you want to win those, but to think that you could go through that unscathed, that's pretty tough. You'd hope to, but hopefully you come out of that thing, out of the injury bug light on that, and then get to playoff time. The weather breaks in October, get to division play and playoff time. Hopefully, you'll be seasoned and physically tough. That's what we need to face that to get to the toughness level I want to get to, and that's going to be good for us.
Lance, Tyler, and I were talking some on the way over here today, and it seems to me, from what I've seen of Brandon over the last 2 or 3 years, and again, I'm a big fan of Sam. I thought he did a great offensive coach. But you got to get better. I mean, to win it all, you got to get better on defense, and you just got to get a little tougher.
There's no doubt, Rick. And I tell you, what suffers sometimes, and people don't realize it, is you get into this fast-paced, high-flying offense, and it's great. But at some point, your defense suffers. They don't go against it. Then when you play that team that's a physical, run the ball downhill at you, grind the clock up, you can't respond. And we're trying to practice that way and service both lines of scrimmage. And I don't know any other way to do it. You can't talk about being physical. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
You got to stick your nose in there and go through it.
Well, how, as a coach, do you instill that? I mean, how do you do that?
Well, you just got to organize practice to where there's little more physical contact than possibly what hadn't been going on, and you got a little resistance from that in the spring, but the guys are embracing that now, and I'm trying to talk about that every day. Hey, in order to beat Tupelo, you better get ready up front, because that's where it's going to be won or lost.
Yeah, I mean, you saw the state championships last year.
Yep.
I mean, but not just that game, but Grenada did it to Hattiesburg.
Yes.
I mean,
Oh boy, did that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, hell, Poplarville kind of did it to. Louisville a little bit.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, and you don't see that very often, but it's one of those things I've always thought that. And the year Sam had a great back, Nate Blunt,
right?
And man, they got in that championship game and they came out and threw it on like 9 out of 10 plays. And I'm going, man, got to dance with the date that I told Sam that. But he's like you said, he developed so much talent there, and just to reach the state championship 3 years in a row is just nuts in 7A. But as you look across the state, boy, there are some good teams. And who else are you looking out for? I know Oak Grove's always going to be in the mix, and there's a new coach in Starkville, which is always scary because they've always got talent. Of course, Tupelo's so good. I mean, who are you looking at?
Yeah, like you say, the bottom line is to win it all, you got to be able to run the football, and you got to be able to stop the run. And I'm not saying you're going to cold turkey stop the run, but you got to manage it. You got to keep them getting gashed, and then And so those teams that are winning that, as you mentioned, are being able to do that. But yeah, obviously you got to, it starts with Tupelo. I mean, they're highly ranked and rightfully so, and got a lot of guys back, highly recruited guys, in all areas, linemen, DBs, so forth, running back. Oak Grove's always a factor. They're going to be so athletic. No doubt. And I tell you, Starkville is always, as we well know, they're a factor every single year. And in the South, I think Marcus Boyles does an outstanding job at Petal. They're going to be a really good football team. But you could take 5 or 6, 7 teams in this top 27A, and whoever stays healthy, put them in a bag, shake them up. Somebody could even be 8-3 and still be a championship caliber team. Take some lumps early in the year and be good at the end, that type deal. That happens a lot of times. So it's a tough league, without a doubt. It's the SEC of Mississippi high school football.
I saw Marcus go back to Petal and told I wanted to tell Justice he wanted to run it back. He could get out. I was like, you can get back in it if you want to. Yeah, it's going to be fun, and your region is interesting again. And you've got Northwest Rankin and Pearl right there, which those are always fun games with Brandon. Right. How familiar are you with that Eat Dirt thing?
Yeah, I've heard a lot about it. I've even heard a lot about it through the years, and I'm understanding it's kind of a bitter thing. But and that's great for the fans. I don't get too much into that. I respect all those guys, and I tell you, I think Northwest Rankin is. I always said I thought that place could be a sleeping giant, and they're coming with it right now and coming on.
It's the second biggest school in the state now, which is incredible. That's where I went to high school. When I was there, we were kind of in the sticks, and now it's the second biggest high school in the state. So it's, I do think it's kind of a sleeping giant.
Change the subject a little bit right now because of some things I've heard that are going on in the metro area about recruiting in high school, and is it worse now than it's ever been?
Yeah, there's no doubt. And there's so much underhanded stuff that goes on out there, Rick. It's really, the coaches aren't doing that. There's going to be somebody that's involved that's kind of trying to be the connection, and hey, so-and-so, we'd like for you to come over here and do this and do that. And that's never ending. That's going to get worse. I really don't know what the answer is. I don't think anybody knows what the answer to that is, because it's in college now, and it's a trickle down. And but no doubt, you'll see kids from out of state move to another state, or obviously within a local community. One guy goes over here and there, and it's common now, no doubt about it. If
you talk to the folks at the MHSA, they'll tell you that the number of transfer requests has gone up some, 2,000% in the last 10 years.
Absolutely.
And they investigate them every single, they try to investigate every single transfer to make sure that the kids, moved, that or one of the parents has moved or whatever. But you just get overwhelmed after a little while, it's just so many. And it seems like, and I don't think you're right. I don't think it's the coaches. I don't think most of this is the coaches that are going to do it.
Now some may be aware of it, but they're not hands on. Yeah.
Yeah, some may be aware. We'll leave it there. But it's it is kind of as like a fan of high school football. You know, how sad would it have been to see like Daniel Hill transfer out of Meridian because they weren't winning? You know what I mean? Like he stayed there. They made the playoffs. Beat Ocean Springs in the first round. He got Player of the Year. You know what I mean?
Absolutely,
you just got to.
Yeah. To me, of course, y'all have followed it, and we all have. It's getting to be now where the allegiance and the loyalty is not there. In other words, playing for your school because you love that school, you'll lay your guts on the line and fight for that particular school versus saying, hey, they're offering me something here, I can go do that. You know, that allegiance and loyalty to me is kind of getting to be a lost art, and that's a sad, sad deal.
Well, it's caused me, and I've said it on this podcast many times, it's caused me not to care as much about college football, which is something I've cared about for 60-something years, you know. But it's just not as special as it used to be when you know your star player this year may be the star player for your arch rival the next year.
Yeah, that's reality that we live in. That, you know, the days of the old Jim Carmody, big nasty Southern Miss, you know, playing with that blue collar. Those kids would fight their guts out for USM. They beat Alabama, made Ole Miss and Mississippi State quit playing them. Those days are over, and that's a shame. That's a shame.
Yeah, those guys would have played 2 seasons for Carmody and then taken some money from Alabama or Southern Cal or something like that. Yeah, it's totally different. Another thing that I want to bring up to you, and I'm looking over the list this morning of Mississippi's top recruits this year, seniors, high school seniors, and damn near every one of them's leaving the state.
Yes.
What is the deal there?
Well, you know, it's reality, Rick. I think a lot of it now is, you know, the money in the college recruiting is a factor. I heard Ole Miss's defensive coordinator make a statement the other day. They were interviewing him about recruiting, and he said, hey, make no mistake about it. You know, we can develop relationships, we can do, but the money is the factor. And so that's what's taking place, and that's kind of taken over the recruiting part of it. And again, it's just, you know, in my era growing up of just loving the, you know, Mississippi State beating Alabama 6-3, Ole Miss beating Notre Dame in '77. Those kids were playing their heart and guts out because of the university, and it's kind of, you know, that's totally flipped now.
It surely has. But it occurred to me while you were talking about what Pete Golding was saying about recruiting. I mean, here he is making $2.5 million a year as a defensive coordinator.
Yeah, it's a little easier on him to make that statement.
That's funny.
Pete's a good one. I've been knowing him a long time. I remember when he was at Delta State as a GA, but man, he's putting it together. They got, of course, he'll be the first to tell you they got players, but they're really, really good defensively.
Boy, he's having to replace a whole bunch of good players this year.
He'll get them going.
We'll see. But I understand they've reloaded.
I was about to say Alabama. You know, it's not. They don't get in many bidding wars that they can't win. Outside of like Texas or somebody like that. So what else are you looking forward to this season? There's you know, you got a couple. I noticed you're playing Clay Chalkville from Alabama, and one of the people don't know this. When I was with Scorebook Live, I was over Alabama as well. Watched them a lot. Where they're that's a pretty good program.
They're really good. They're one of the top 5 or 6 schools year in and year out over there. And boy, that's a statement, you know, in Alabama. Sounds like Sam kind of knew what he's up to, you know, to walking out the door there and
handed you the schedule. That's pretty.
I understand why he's doing that, you know. And I think Sam realized that, you know, hey, let's play some of these teams and get physical, get tougher. You got to do that, and you know, he'd gotten it to that point, and I think he probably thought this is the step we got to take to finally get over the hump. And
we had that conversation a couple times. I mean, I think after their first state championship loss, we were talking about just playing. He said, I mean, this was like the day after, and he was like, we're playing a tougher schedule. That's just all there is to it.
Right.
So, I mean, I can see where he got there. But, yeah, man, that's going to be exciting. And that Clay Chalkville game is going to be another good test. And I don't know how they get those. I don't know why. I guess they have a little bit bigger population over there in Alabama, but I would love to get those guys in the Miss Al game sometime soon. That'd be great.
No doubt. Yeah, you know, I've played some of those Alabama teams in the past, and their population kind of gets us a little bit. But per capita, I'm telling you what you already know, Rick, for sure. Per capita, Mississippi's top 10 or 12 players every year will match up with anybody. It's just we get beat by numbers.
Yeah. Just numbers is. Yeah, I mean, they've got damn near twice as many people.
Exactly. Yeah, that makes a difference.
More than 1.5 times as many people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but where is that game, Clay?
It's going to be over there. That's right outside of Birmingham, about 20 miles there. Yep. And there'll be a return here next year with them.
Oh, good.
Yep.
Good.
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited about that. Well, look, I'm going to come to that Tupelo game to start the season.
Well, that's going to be the highlight. We got our hands full, but our guys, I'm starting to see it in their eye, and you're starting to realize, like I said, we've put an emphasis on practicing tougher, and I'm starting to see that, and I'm encouraged about it. Now, boy, Tupelo's good. Gosh almighty, they're good, and they've got confidence and undefeated and all, and so it'll be a big test for us, but we're excited about the opportunity right out the gate.
Well, good luck to you, Lance. We're looking forward to it. I'm glad to have you back in the highest classification in the public schools. That's really exciting.
Well, I appreciate you too, guys. I have great respect for you, Rick. I've told you that many, many times. I followed you when I was knee high with the old Jackson Daily in the afternoon and the Clarion Ledger. And Tyler, I've been aware of your career all the way through and appreciate you guys. I'll say this right quick. I was glad to see Mike Justice get put in the Mississippi Hall of Fame, the state level, and well deserved. I'm really proud for him.
Well, I've said many times, Lance, that high school well, not just high school football coaches, high school coaches overall are the most underserved people in our state's Hall of Fame. There's so many ex-coaches who have influenced not hundreds but thousands of kids that, I mean, those people deserve credit for it.
Well, it's being a high school. I tell these younger coaches, hey, being a head coach now, you can get more than you wish for. It's not just always the Friday night light. There's a lot goes into it from the end of that game Friday to the next Friday in the high school part of it. But it's you touch a lot of lives. More than anything to me, you guys mentioned it when we started. I've been blessed, and I be the first to say that. But I don't really worry about people asking my record or I don't talk about that. When I get a text or a call from a former player and it's something positive, if you just have an ounce of a positive influence on a kid at some point, and they when they get older and all, and they remember that and appreciate that stands the test of time, and that's what it's all about. And to me, the relationships of the coaches that you work with and the kids that you coach throughout, that overrides every win you'll have, because that stuff is lifelong.
One final question: when you won a national championship at South Panola, was that your best team?
Rick, I think so. Now, we've had a couple good ones, but from top to bottom, you're talking about Nicholas Brazel, Quinn Griffin, Isaac Gross, Antonio O'Connor, the list goes on. We just had a load of players, and I would have to say, and I'm not being biased, I know there's been some good ones through the years, but it would take some kind of team in the history of Mississippi to beat that team. I mean, just offensively, defensively, we had it all, and we went through the whole year that year as a defense and gave up less than 500 yards rushing. That's a fact. And people just couldn't run the football on us. So you stop the run, get them off the field, and we put those guys on offense right back out there. Average probably 40-something a game, I can't remember, and beat Rush Probst over in Georgia. That kind of put us over the top to win the national championship. Got our name out there, but he was at Colquitt County, boy, that was a heck of a football team. But I had several that would rival it, but I just don't know how you could rank one above that one.
Yeah. It wasn't like it was an elaborate playbook either. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you.
Absolutely. Yeah, play to the player's strengths, right. And I always say this: it's players, not plays.
Right.
I always said whenever I came to your games, the first thing I would notice, and I always said, it looks like those guys live under a squat rack.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's the physicalness of that. I'll tell you one quick funny story, Rick. You probably remember. You was talking about Willis Wright. We played Clarksdale one night. Boy, there's another team years ago that was really always. And Willis was running the defense. I think it was my first year there. And Rick came to the game. It was a big, highly publicized game right off the bat. And Willis had a little index card in his pocket. Always wore a little coaching shirt with a pocket in it. He didn't want a shirt, didn't have a front pocket. And he had it in his hand, and Rick asked him, said, "Coach, what's that?" He said, "Well, that's kind of my defense." And he said, "Well, what all you got on there?" And he just showed it to him. It just said "Sick 'em."
Yeah.
He had that index card, but he also had a fishing lure hanging out.
Absolutely. Willis Wright. Boy, true legend.
Great.
That's great. Well, we appreciate this, Coach. Good luck to you this season. We'll be pulling for you. And, any listeners in the metro area, that game against Tupelo to open the season is must-watch football if you're a Mississippi high school football fan. So come on out, and we'll see you at the game.
Thoroughly enjoyed visiting with you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all the time we got this week. Thanks, everybody, for listening in. Make sure to watch the Tour Championship this weekend, where they'll be playing much better than Rick did in his championship out at Lake Caroline. And we'll talk to you next week.